It's the first time I'm going to address this subject like this. The model dream was not big enough for me to leave everything and go. The competition was here, but I knew I came prepared. I was confident, but not sure. During my second lockdown, I was pregnant. Becoming a mom made me more confident. I knew what I wanted for my child, and I knew what I wanted for me as a woman. Thinking back now as an adult, I don't want this childhood for my son.
Is there something like mom guilt? Is mom guilt a thing?
Of course, it is. Once or twice a year, we leave him for a weekend with my in-laws. Leaving him is hard, but I try to tell myself, okay, but this is good for him to learn to be more independent and not to only be emotionally
Attached to you?
attached to me. Of course, I love it, but it's not good for him on the long run. You are a mom, you are also a wife, you are also a woman, and you have to make the best out of everything. The first time it happened, I was in the market in Quatre-Bornes. Someone just came to me and took my baby. So I was always so conscious of how I looked. I went to the gym and everything. And then the baby came and everything changes from there. My skin is not the same, the tummy is not the same, but the focus as well is not the same. This skin had a baby. It stretched. It changed, but because I had a baby, so I think it's beautiful now. Little secret I'm gonna share. I was with someone in a relationship and it went really bad, but I never had the strength to leave simply because I was one of the victims. And later, I fell in love with someone. I realized that it was still pedophilia again. Now that I am getting documented and I'm talking about things, I realize how bad it was.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Figuring Out. I'm your host, Gemma Permalu. I'm currently in Mauritius and recording with some very special guests. One today being Ornella Lafleche. Very, very excited to meet you in person.
Me too.
And to speak to you. I think we're going to have a lot of fun here. I can sense the energy.
So. It started well already. I mean, we're vibing. Pre-recording.
Pre-recording,
so
yeah.
Good.
So that's good. The Mauritians know you. I've heard so much about you. But for people who are coming across your profile for the very first time, give me a quick introduction. Who's Ornella?
All right. Ornella is a 25-year-old mom of a 2-year-old baby boy. I'm married. I am a content creator. I work in the digital marketing field. I'm also a model. I'm a former Miss Universe Mauritius. I've done quite a few things so far. I just launched my own company in digital marketing, and to get started, I think we're good.
That's good things, and equally the one thing I haven't said. One, equally very grateful for your time because I know as a mom you had to move quite a few things to be here today, and grateful for Ryan who's behind the camera for getting this organised.
Thank you, Ryan.
And we are recording at Workshop 17 in Cambé, which is an amazing space, and I do invite people to come and take a look.
I mean, it's an amazing place for entrepreneurs. I do come for in the one in Saint-Pierre, in Saint-Pierre, and it's really nice to work in. The atmosphere is good, so yeah.
Yeah, I had an amazing team on email helping me to organise this, so very excited to have everyone in the room. Let's go back to your childhood. So you said you grew up in Mauritius. What was your childhood job? What were you dreaming of?
My childhood dream job? Well, I've got a lot of dream jobs. I went through the teacher phase where I always wanted to be a teacher, biology teacher.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I dreamt about being a pilot sometimes, and at some point I dreamt about being a doctor as well. And then here I am in digital marketing, so very different. I think that my dream jobs were just things I loved on the moment, but I did not really know myself yet and what I wanted. I always felt like this. So jobs looked nice, but I knew it was not for me.
Okay.
So I think I'm living my dream job now.
See, you were Miss Mauritius. You had a pretty face, very fashionable.
Thank you.
Was there a time where you even dreamt of being a model or joining the fashion industry?
Well, I am. But the fashion industry in Mauritius is not a big and huge one, and I never thought about leaving Mauritius.
Okay.
So the model dream was not big enough for me to leave everything and go. So I kind of earn a living out of it in Mauritius too, but it's not super flourishing industry, I guess. Models are not well paid, or shoots are. It's a small country, you have small brands, so once you work with one brand, you can't work with the other. So it's quite complicated.
So when did the Miss Mauritius journey come about? When did you start thinking about participating?
Oh, well, pageantry has always been something I loved. But then I had some friends that pushed me, okay, you need to go, you need to do this will help you, you will get empowered, you will grow, you will change, and this is an adventure you have to live. And I was like, okay, I want to do it, and my friends were here supporting me, and Ryan back here was one of them. I did it. I started several pageants where I ended up first runner-up for 2 different pageants here before joining the Miss Universe one. And then that was great because it just got me waiting for the good one. The one I was dreaming of was to go to Miss Universe. So when I won Miss Universe Mauritius here, I went to represent our country in Atlanta in 2019.
Okay.
So yeah, that was amazing.
Between us, when you participated, did you know that you had really good chances of winning? How was your confidence back then?
No, in Mauritius?
Yeah,
in Mauritius. I think
let's be honest, because I think you've got quite a lot to
I felt competition too.
Oh, you did? Okay.
I was not sure I was going to win. There were some other good girls as well that were pretty and could walk as well. So the competition was here, but I knew I came prepared.
Okay.
I had the experience of pageantry. Other girls, I think it was their first time doing pageant, so I knew how it goes. I trained my catwalk, I trained my Q&A moment, I trained everything for the interview. I got friends who helped me in grooming, styling. I mean, there's a lot of work behind.
Of course.
And I slayed the catwalk, and I think that was a good point on that night. And even for my Q&A part, I came prepared. So I was confident, but not sure.
But not sure. I came across one of your interviews where you said that you really wanted to showcase to the Mauritians that Miss Mauritius is not just about the exterior beauty. It's not just about wearing the sparkling crown. Did that journey, once you won the title, did that change anything for you?
Everything changed. It's crazy, but everything, my whole life changed since I've been crowned. It took some time. I went for the pageant, and when I came back, I was a different woman. Okay. And I'm so grateful for life for having. I think I would not be there without pageantry. And it's not only about model and everything, it's about my personal growth. Going abroad, being alone for some time. I came back, I was with someone in a relationship, and it went really bad. It was bad. But I never had the strength to leave. I felt like very unconfident, and I could not do anything. But then this changed me. This helped me be more affirmative, and I knew who I was as from there, and what I wanted and what I did not want anymore. And this decision also led me to meeting another great man and getting married. I mean, thanks to Miss Universe Mauritius for changing this. Of course, everything changed.
Did you ever feel like once Miss Mauritius happened, and maybe that's probably too personal, but I'm going to ask the question anyway. When you won Miss Mauritius, you had so many things lined up. You just said you're 25, you're married, have 2 kids. So many women are not even married at this age. Did you sense like maybe this is too young, let me wait, I've got so many professional things? Or how did you balance wanting to keep moving professionally, climbing up, and then meeting your husband and baby Thomas?
That's it. So when it all started, I met my husband, Gael. I just ended pageantry. I had a part-time job and then did some model things. So my career was not at its peak then. And then COVID came. We had 2 lockdowns together and everything went well. During my second lockdown, I was pregnant. And I think that having a baby and becoming a mom is what made me the professional I am today. It's crazy because people tend to think that having a baby is the end of everything, of the end of your womanhood, of your career, of who you are.
Slow you down.
But becoming a mom made me more confident. I knew what I wanted for my child, and I knew what I wanted for me as a woman. You know, I want to show my child that nothing is impossible and that you can have this and still do this. And it has been my way of seeing life the whole time. I mean, from my childhood till now, there have been very bad things, but it never ended, like stopped me from doing what I wanted or to dream. And this is what I want to show him. I mean, you can be this and still be this. You can be in any kind of situation and still dream about being higher. And well, talking about the age now, yeah, I think I'm young, but it felt natural. When everything came, I was ready to welcome my son. I was ready to be married. I was sure of who I wanted to be married with. Hi, Gael. And so it all felt natural, and I did not feel like I just ignored what society would think. You know, people say I'm too young for this, I'm too young for this. I mean, look at me, I'm still here and I'm still doing my thing because I know what I want and I know that I'm doing it with my heart, so I'm good.
I love the confidence, and I love that. I love the confidence, definitely. And what would you say to baby Thomas? Like, if you think about your childhood, you were talking about your dream job, right?
Yeah.
If you had to tell him, how was your childhood like? What would you tell him? What was mommy or mommy like as a kid?
Mommy was... My childhood, I think, well, thinking back now as an adult, I don't want this childhood for my son, but I was a happy kid. So I always had this joy within me that I wanted to spread, the good vibes, and still now I'm still like this. Well, we are entering sensitive things, but well, it's the past.
Whatever you feel comfortable.
No worries. So if I have something to transmit, like my own child to my son, would be to believe in himself, would be to still spread love, because he's such a bundle of joy, and I can see this. I can see this part of me in him. He's always in a good mood, cheering people. He's always the one with a lot of energy. I was this one, and I hope he will keep that, because I think that it can bring him like far later.
Oh, you're a great mom, and I can sense you getting slightly emotional talking about him. I love watching the pictures and the videos of you guys together, and you doing amazingly well. I'm sure you'll keep on acing and nailing it in life.
Thank you, because it's hard, you know, even though you're a professional and everything, there are sacrifices you have to make, and there are some things. Sometimes you feel guilty about not being present enough, even though I try my best to give all my attention. So,
is there something like mom guilt? Is mom guilt a thing?
Of course, it is. It's very present, but not only mom guilt. You know, I have a super nice husband, and he's a super nice dad, and he gets it as well. I guess it's a parent thing. It's a parent guilt. I don't know if it's stronger in moms or anything, but yeah, you feel once you leave your child, or if you, I don't know, it's just within me. No one told me that, oh, you're getting back home very late today, but it's just within me. I'm like, oh my God, I missed bedtime today, and is he going to remember that I was not here? Is he going to tell me one day that I was not present enough? So I always try to do things so that I don't have this kind of regrets later, you know. But it's all about juggling, I guess.
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's more on the professional side, right? So say you're getting home late, you feel like you've missed bedtime and you feel guilty. What about when you take time for yourself? Say you go for a little self-care, a little nice massage. Does that come with guilt as well?
No, because I do this when he has his own activities and things. That's the advantages of being an entrepreneur. So when I have to take the time, it's during the week when he's at nursery. So it's like my time. I'm not taking into his time. So I feel very comfortable doing it. But maybe if I had to leave my baby, for example, we once or twice a year we leave him for a weekend with my in-laws. Leaving him is hard. But I try to tell myself, okay, but this is good for him to learn to be more independent and not to only be emotionally
Attached to you.
attached to me. Of course, I love it, but it's not good for him on the long run. I mean, he has to know how to deal with other people, and he has to know how to deal when I'm not here. So I try to kind of console myself with this idea. So I'm doing good as well for him because he's learning new things and to deal with his emotions. So I don't know.
I think it's such an important message that you're giving to young moms listening to you, because I do feel like I'm not a mom. I'd love to be a mom one day, but I do feel like sometimes, and I think about my own mother when she was taking care of us, and I'm a twin, so it was two of us.
Wow.
I do feel like moms sometimes do so much for the kids, and all I've read or all I've seen sometimes on social media, that there comes a moment of guilt when they take time for themselves. And I think it's such an important thing to take time for yourself.
Super important, I guess, because you are a mom, you are also a wife, you are also a woman. And you have to make the best out of everything, because you can be a super great mom, but you don't take care of yourself and you lose confidence, and then it's going to impact on your couple. There's so many things. I mean, my child is going to be my child my whole life, but one day he will leave me. And what when he leaves? What will be left? I want to still feel full of myself, still in love with my husband, so we work very hard on that as well. We discuss a lot, we talk a lot about our relationship, because as every couple, it gets difficult once you get a child. You know, you're tired all the time, you've got a million of things to think about before thinking about your own couple and what you can do together. But I think it's super important. Even though, I don't know, it's the message I always think about what I'm going to transmit to Thomas, my son. Because if I'm not confident, I think I'm going to pass that to him. You know, like the world, you have to get crushed, you have to do this. I want to show him that, well, stand up proud, do your things, be strong. I don't know, it's just how I want him to see life and how I want my life to be. I don't want to be in a miserable couple only because we gave everything to our child. And we're still giving everything, but we're still taking time for ourselves. Yeah, I think it's very important.
And you seem to be doing it really well.
Yeah, we're doing our best.
That's great. You're a public figure, and obviously you have a public Instagram page, and baby Thomas is there. Yeah. And we were talking about it earlier, how sometimes Mauritians are very lovely. They come up to you, they want to say hello, they want to say hi. And I could sense the protective side of you when it comes to your baby.
Of course, of course.
Showing your baby on social media and walking out in public with him, do you have people coming up to you or trying to get too close to your baby?
Yeah, it happened.
How do you cope? How do you juggle?
The first time it happened, I was in the market in Quatre-Bornes, buying my vegetables and everything on a Saturday morning with my baby. And he was still very small back then, because I remember he was still in the wrap, And someone just came to me and took my baby. You know, I was in postpartum. And when you're in postpartum, just think of a dog who just gave birth. You know how aggressive she is? It's the same thing, except that you have to be a bit more civilized.
You can't bite.
But your instinct is there. And she just came and grabbed, okay, she could not take my baby because he was wrapped around me. She touched him. And I was like, oh my God, what you doing? She told me, oh, Ornella, I know you. I follow you on Instagram. And I was like, but I don't know you. You come to me, you touch my child without asking for permission. He's not something you can just take. I mean, he's a human being, and you have to get... I'm very sensitive on that, because I want him to know what's happening, and I want people to get his approval, not my approval, before they touch him, because he's
take a picture.
A person, like everyone, a picture, I say no for that.
Yeah, exactly.
I say no, because, I decided to be on Instagram. Of course, I show bits and pieces of my life as a mom, so there is Thomas, but it's not Thomas the focus. So when people, I don't know, ask me for a picture of my baby, I'm saying, I'm sorry, it's not his thing to do. I can take a picture with you because this is my Instagram page, but he never decided to be this thing. So, of course, he's going to be on my page, but it's getting rarer and rarer. Before it was all the time, always talking about him, but I guess I was in this phase of motherhood where everything was about the baby. But now I'm trying to show other things, and I think that people are starting to understand this page is not about the baby, it's about me, a mother, a woman, and everything I do. So, but I do appreciate when people come to me, we talk and everything, but I think that's important also to respect the boundaries of Thomas as a human being, solely as a human being. I mean, he has to be okay with who is talking to him. It's a lot about consent. I'm very firm about consent.
Yeah, I think it's a very tricky time to be living. This world is really tricky. Like when you think about maybe our time when mobile phone didn't even exist. And now data's everywhere. I keep saying this, data's everywhere. You can access people information.
Yeah.
You can see someone creating a fake profile of you. And you're right, like he didn't ask for this. So I don't know how I'm going to be when I become a mom. But if I were to put myself in your shoes right now, I have this chat with my sister and I'm always like, I think I want to show parts of my baby, but like maybe not the face, something of the sort. So I do hear from friends that they get very defensive for good reasons and protective when it comes to the baby. So interesting to have your perspective there as a public figure living on a small island.
Yeah, if I just let him go with any strangers anytime, can become so dangerous because he will get used to be going with strangers. So one day when I lose control, because I'm not going to always be with him, it's not okay for him to think that any person can come and grab him. One day he can get kidnapped. I mean, I don't want to be paranoid or anything, but I have to show him, okay, strangers are strangers, you behave like this. No one can hug you when they are a stranger. No one can kiss you when they are a stranger unless you give the permission. So it's not only about me and how I feel, but how he's going to see things later, you know?
This is also a good segue into something maybe more sensitive and...
I know where you're going.
One of the things we discussed on emails was your quotes about pedophilia and maybe pedophilia later, but first, one of your battles or one of the topics you chose to defend at the pageant was sexual abuse. And now you are leading this battle of pedophilia. Why pick that as a theme? Why pick that as a battle?
Well, simply because I was one of the victims, being a little girl. But I don't know if I can talk about it so far because I went to court. I lost my case because, well, I had no proof when... I had no clue that I had to take proofs when I was 8 and when it was happening. So today it's still important and it's the first time I'm going to address this subject like this. But, well, it happened to me when I was 8 to 10, around 8 to 10, and it was a long thing with someone very close to our family and everything. No... And then later, I fell in love with someone. And today, as a mom and as an adult, I realized that it was still pedophilia again. So I don't know if it was a loop. I don't know about it and how and why I got into it. But now that I am getting documented and I'm talking about things, I realize how bad it was, and that's super frequent because I had other friends at school at that time that were minors, going out with adults and everything. I experienced grooming in this relationship. I experienced all kind of mental abuse, and so I think it's still important not only to talk about children, but even teenagers falling in love with adults and doing nonsense things, because I've been there. I've done that, and if I could erase this story from my past, I would.
I appreciate you sharing this and trying to raise awareness despite the vulnerability that I definitely sense here. So I appreciate the work that you're putting in and you're doing and being so vocal and for being so brave and talking about it. And I'm sure many people do. So we're going to move on to something else, and equally a sensitive subject, but one that you've been quite open about, especially after becoming a mom. Body image. you shared one video that I came across where you talk about your stretch marks and how, despite being so fit and slim and well put together like today, you've managed to maintain a figure. What did motherhood change for you physically, if we can get into that? And
Everything.
And what do you have to say to moms listening to us?
How motherhood changed me, I grew up in this modeling field. So you can guess how important images to me was. Not as much today.
Okay.
And I always had this pressure within myself and from others as well about being perfect, a flatter tummy, oh, I don't have enough breast, oh, I don't have enough this, oh, you're this and you're that. So I was always so conscious of how I looked. I went to the gym and everything. And then the baby came and everything changes from there. Even though you go to sport, it's just not going to be the same again unless you can try some surgery or things like that, I guess. I had small boobs before pregnancy and they are even smaller now. And they told me it was going to be the opposite. I thought I would have breast after that. And look at that.
This is your first out here and someone said the opposite, because normally that would be the hip.
Yeah. Well, it was very big during pregnancy and a bit after when I was breastfeeding, and then I don't know what happened. It all went away. My skin is not the same, the tummy is not the same, but the focus as well is not the same. I mean, I still want to look attractive for my husband, and I still want to look good, and I still want to feel like this. But sometimes I just look at myself in the mirror, and it's so cliche. I'm going to say, and I said, oh my God, you gave life, and it's so real. I mean, sometimes I look at my belly and I feel so bad because when I see it, just crushes like a lot of skin. And then I said, wait, this skin had a baby, and it stretched, and it had a baby, and then it changed, but because I had a baby, so I think it's beautiful now. It's just part of life, and I went through a pregnancy, and my body became the body of a mom, and it's life, and it's how. Then of course I go to sports. I try to still stay fit and maintain a shape, but there are still parts of my body that will always remind me. I've got stretch marks now. I never had those, and I love them. In fact, little secret I'm gonna share. I always found one day I came up well before my pregnancy. One day I came across a picture on Pinterest with a girl wearing a bikini, and she had stretch marks there, and I thought it was so sexy. During pregnancy, I made sure not to apply my cream there, so when I get those stretch marks. So I am.
Did it work?
Yeah, it worked. Of course, it worked. Even where I applied, it worked. Stretch marks are inevitable. It's okay. And the best thing you can tell yourself when you become a mom and you see your body change, of course, you have to get the support of the one you love. My husband never made me feel like I was less beautiful. I always felt more beautiful, and till now, he never made me feel like my body was changing, even though I was pregnant or after the delivery. And this helped a lot. I know not every woman has this chance, because a lot of men put the pressure on women that, oh, you're not the same anymore. Of course, dude, I just gave birth. I mean, what did you expect? And of course, when I had 2 hours to train before, now these 2 hours are into cooking, cleaning, doing the laundry. What are they expecting? What are they expecting? Don't decide to get a baby if you can't take it all. I mean, with the whole package. So if there are women looking at us and feeling bad in their body, and I mean, girl, just look at yourself and all the things you've done. You gave life. You have a baby that's counting on you to show him a lot of things and transmit a lot of values and principles, and you can transmit confidence, and you can transmit a lot of things to your child. And it's just, I guess, the process of life. I used to look at my mom and say, oh, she has stretch marks, so I will apply cream so as not to have stretch marks. I got them. Because it's just part of life. My grandma had them. The grandma before had them. And it's going to be like this, I guess, for decades and decades. It's just how life is. The body changes. And look at your husband. He's not the same anymore as well, girl. Right? Everyone changes. It's true.
Very true.
I still find my husband handsome and even more beautiful, but he's not the same as on the day we met. He became another man. He grew as well, and he changed as well. And change is to be expected both ways. Mm-hmm. And this is very bad from people to think that, yeah, we used to be like this before. Of course, before. But then a lot of things happen, and life changes, and how you see things changes, and your focus. Before it was about being attractive, finding someone, falling in love. Now today it's about bringing up a human being, for him not to become a criminal one day or a drug dealer. I hope you'll not become a drug dealer. I'm working hard for that. But well, the focus is in transmitting good values. And if I'm only complaining about my body and how I look, Thomas is going to be insecure in his body and how he looks one day. And I don't know if I will have a daughter one day. And this is not an insecurity I want to pass on, because women tend to feel very insecure because we compare ourselves. And I can tell you, even the most pretty girl on earth feels bad about something. So stop it.
I really value that we're talking about this because I feel like, yes, I think probably men feel it too, but maybe they're less vocal about it. But women, body image is definitely something women struggle with. And like you said, even the prettiest woman would. I remember, so when I was 10, I had one of the school vaccination that you normally get at school. We all would know that.
Tetanus.
For me, it left me with a bad keloid scar. So it kept growing to the point where it became a bump. And finally, I got a surgery like 2 years ago. It still has a scar, but I can like nicely apply some makeup to it. But to the point where, and I'm sharing this, and this is probably the first time I'm talking about this very openly, but it basically gave me complexes where I love going to the beach. I'm a beach girl. I love going diving and be out in the sea. But putting on something where you think, for others, they might not be paying attention to your scar. But in my head, it was such a big thing.
It was the biggest thing on your...
Such a big thing. And now that the surgery is done, I have scars. But I almost like love the scars because I'm like, you remind me of a particular journey. You remind me of whatever complexes I had, and suddenly I feel like now it's such like a moment of freedom to be able to dress the way I can. But body image is definitely women struggle with, and I do appreciate that you sharing your experience as a young mom, I think will hopefully give others the confidence to do the same.
Well, it also happens that I feel bad in my body, guys, so don't mistake. I'm human. Sometimes I'm in front of a mirror and say, oh my God, girl, well, look at you now. And then 5 minutes later, I say, okay, girl, you are doing good. It's okay. So it can happen that you feel bad, but don't let yourself like go down this thing. Just try to do things to feel confident and feel better in your body. Sports helped me a lot with that. And it's not about having bigger butts or having better this. I just know I'm doing things that are keeping me healthy and active, and even for my mental health, I know that I'm doing things to be the best I can be. I'm not going to be a Victoria's Secret model. But I'm doing what I can to be my best self. And this helps a lot in cancelling a bit about my insecurities. When I stop sports, I feel terrible because I know I can do this. I could feel better if I did this. I could feel better if I did this. And then I just started doing it, and it really helps, I can say.
You don't seem to be requiring external validation. Was there a time when you needed validation from someone else?
Of course. Well, in the job as itself, waiting for likes. I posted a bikini pic and it worked better, so I need to post more with some more.
Do you still have those moments?
No.
Not anymore.
I don't. I post what I love, things that I love, sometimes about doing laundry. I mean, that's what I do now. But yeah, I think I still do a bit though.
Like you're watching the likes, for instance? Are you like, oh, this picture got that many likes?
No, it's not that. Stopped. I did, but it's sick. I mean, it's sick because I ended up sharing things that I knew people wanted, but not what I wanted to share, and it gets complicated because it's not me anymore, and I wanted my page to be about me and how I feel, my opinions and things like that. So this I completely stopped. But if you tell me if I still look for validation from others, I think I still get hurt if someone just comes and attacks. As I said, I still have insecurities. I just work on them. But if someone just comes at me and spits out that, yeah, this is ugly and this is... I might feel bad. I won't lie. I'm not that super woman. But I'm working on that to be less sensitive about what people think about me. But I can say it's much less than before.
Okay.
I know I can't please everyone now. And I don't want to please everyone now because there are people who I just don't share same values. So, and principles. I tell myself, okay, this person and I don't have same values and principles. It's okay if he doesn't like me. I mean, because I don't want his values and principles. And it's okay, stay there. And I'm still going to do my thing because if I feel it's correct, I do what feels correct and good for me and my family. It's not about others anymore.
Speaking of content creation, which is also probably a good segue for us to get into this. So you mentioned quite a few things that you're trying to run your own business and you've done quite a few things from modeling, content creation. Can you tell us a little bit more about the content creation or the influencer space in Mauritius? Is it a big market? Is it a niche market? How's that going for you?
It is a big market now, I guess. Everyone is going digital, and since COVID, I started doing a bit. I was really beginning on social media when I was Miss Mauritius. It's Universe Mauritius. So yeah, I started there, and then COVID came, and it grew like this. Because it was not about billboards anymore. It was about being seen on social media. So brands want to be seen on social media. So who is going to do that? Okay, let's contact this. And it became a whole new thing. And that's being more and more... Like before, you could not say, I'm an influencer. People say, oh my God, what's that? And everything. No, it's a job. I mean, I get paid for that. I won't lie. It's a job. Like every other job. So yeah, the market is big. That was the question, right? And we do have several type of influencers doing several type of content. You have travel contents that are amazing. You're in Mauritius. I mean, you can get amazing things. And there are talented people doing that. You get food influencers, you get fashion and beauty influencers, lifestyle. I mean, we're getting quite... And even TikTok is getting very popular in Mauritius.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And when you think about your journey as an influencer, how do you feel about, for instance, you say before when you would say to someone, you're an influencer, not only what is an influencer, oh, she thinks it's just too great for us, or like she's an influencer, what is she here to influence?
Well, I just took in the name because we gave it a name to this job.
But does it bother you? Being called an influencer?
No, it doesn't bother me. I know who I am. I mean, people who come on my page know. I'm not here to brag about being the greatest of all. Sometimes I cry with my audience and this happened because I'm a mama. And it started when I just wanted to start sharing my things and being honest about my things. So I became Miss. I had my advocacy. I talked a lot about sexual abuse and started having a crowd there. And then I was pregnant and everything. So I had another crowd coming in because there were another women expecting. So we were living our pregnancy together on social media. There were moms already who came in to give advices. And there were young girls who were just... I don't know, we were the same age and I was living something different, so we wanted to see how it goes. And this is how my social media got started. It was with no intention of saying that I'm doing this and this better. I always ask for advice. I want to engage. It's not about me being the perfect mom and showing people. In fact, I feel very, very uncomfortable giving advices on my Instagram page. Okay. People come to me and say, how did you do this? I say, this is what worked for me.
But I can't guarantee.
I'm not a child psychologist or I'm not the mom of the year. I mean, I do things I am ashamed of. Sometimes I get out of myself and shout at my child, and then I go cry in the shower. I'm a usual mom, and I just share it. And this is so they might think I'm an influencer and call it an influencer, but it's just me sharing my day-to-day without filtering out. This is something else I want to talk about. When I just gave birth, I pressured myself so much into looking good, but you can't look good when you give birth to it. You can't, trust me. And I always had my makeup on before starting to do stories in the morning. Even I had maybe 3 hours sleep or 4 max when I just gave birth, and I still found got to wake up 30 minutes earlier to make up and everything, and then it just got so tiring. And then I told myself, dude, no. And then the thing came when I saw another page of another Instagram mom that I love, and that is always so perfect. She's looking like she never gave birth. Her body is amazing. Her face is amazing. Her hair is amazing. She doesn't have vomit on her. I have vomit on me. I mean, I was comparing myself and I felt so bad. And then I looked at myself. I said, "Mate, girl, you're doing the same thing to others. You're doing your makeup in the morning and making other women think that, oh, you can't be doing it, but I'm doing it. I look pretty in the morning." And then it just came to me that I wanted to be unfiltered. I wake up in the morning as a young mom of a 2 weeks old baby. I can't look like I never gave birth. I did. And I don't want other women to think that it's natural to look like this, or it's natural to have time to do this, because you don't have time to do this.
I love the energy from you, but equally, I just love how natural you are and very candid about your whole journey, be it motherhood or your pageantry, your influencer. And I do have a friend, she's probably going to watch this, but I do have a friend, she's always like watching your page, and she's like, I just love how like she's very natural. So you should know this. Ornella, last question for you. What's your hope for the future?
I think I'm too much rushing in everything and then not thinking about it. But there's one word coming, it's my son. Like, this is where all my hope lies. Maybe it's not good, right? Maybe it's not good, right? No, I'm putting a lot into Ma, of course, to be able to be the best mom, to be able to be there for a long time and see him grow and see him become whoever. I don't know who he's going to be. I'm just discovering bits and pieces of him every day, and it's like just a discovery. So from a mother's side, my hope would be for him to grow into whoever he wants to be, as long as he's good and kind, please. And for me, I hope to, I don't know, wow, I never feel. For me, I hope that I'll just continue being me and be happy and going with the flow. I hope that we'll be doing good with my husband for a very long time. I hope that professionally I will be keeping growing and maybe take more steps in the future. I don't know where I'm going, really. I think that's it. It's about us three.
And I wish you only the best. I just hope you stay as happy as you are, a little bundle of joy that you are. I just hope you stay the same and that there are more good things awaiting you.
Thank you.
But just know that I do appreciate you being here today, and I know you've moved so many things to be here, so I really appreciate talking to you.
Of course, and thank you for having me and your interesting questions. I mean, it was a nice conversation.
I'm glad I had you here. Thanks, Ornella.
Thanks.